Right. So, good afternoon, everyone. Hello and welcome to our free online lessons. My name is Nabi Fikri, an application engineer from AutoCAD Systems. So, for today's free online lessons, I would like to share you about the custom equipment or custom access set that can be used inside of Factory Design Utilities. But before we continue, I would like to share a bit about our websites. So let's say if you like to visit our website, so you can go to any browser, and then at the top here, you can type in AutoCADsystems.com. Then you can press enter, and it will bring you to our main landing page over here. So right over our main landing page here, so you can see our phone number, KN, and also Penang. So if you like to see more information, you can just scroll down over here. And if you would like to see our upcoming film lesson or our upcoming event, so you can scroll down until you see this latest Autodesk free online course and lesson over here. So this will be our free online lessons that we will be doing for every week. So if there are any event that you would like to join, so you can just click at the event right here, and then you can just click to reserve this event. So if you like to have any support issue, so there are a few things that you can contact us. So one, you can also contact from our live chat. Aside from the phone number here, you can just contact from our live chat here. Or other things is that you can also contact from our help desk. So you can just go to the AutoCAD system help desk over here. And then you can find right from the bottom here, we have create new ticket as a guest. So this is where you can use this to request a support issue from us. So just fill in the information that you require, and then you can just submit, and our available technical team will assist you for your issue. So right now, let's go back to our event for today. Right, so this will be the agenda that we're going to do. So we're going to create a custom factory assets. So there are a few steps that we're going to follow along. So one, we're going to take a look at the existing one, which is the Autodesk asset. And then we want to also create our own asset. So that is where, for example, if you have your own existing asset, you might want to simplify down a bit. Then we can convert it into asset builder. So the asset builder can be converted right from the Inventor. You can also do it for the 2D, right, which is from the AutoCAD. And then we can also add a bit more customizations and automations for our asset over here. So right now, let's take a look at the factory design utilities. Okay, by the way, if you want to know how can you get the factory design, so you need to purchase the product design and manufacturing collections. So this is where how you can get the factory design. So this will be inside of the bundle collection here. Right, so I hope you can see my screen over here. So right over here, I have a sample files that I will be using to create an asset. So right now, let me just show you about the factory first. So I can create new. So once I've installed my factory design utilities, it will be available from the tab here. So I have factories. And I can also create a new factory assembly layout from here. So I can go ahead and click create. And once done loading, it will pop up the assembly sections for the factory design. Right, so again, like I mentioned before, so the factory design is actually part of PDMC. And once you install the factory, so it will be installed directly inside of Inventor, and then you should be able to see the factory here. And you can also use the factory inside of the AutoCAD. And specifically, there are a few types of AutoCAD that you need to have, which is the AutoCAD mechanicals or architecturals, and so on, right? If you try to install, it will not appear on the vanilla version of AutoCAD. So you need to have mechanical or architectural, and then you should be able to see the factory here, right? So this is actually the AutoCAD mechanicals, and then the factory tab is now available that we can choose from here. Right now, we're going to go with the Inventor. So right here, if I would like to add an asset from here, what I can do is that I can go to the asset browser from here. And then from here, I can go ahead and add the equipment right from here. So if you don't see the asset browser, so you need to go on the palette over here, and then you can turn this one on. Right? So for example, if I turn this one, the asset browser off, then I can just go over here and open up the asset browser, and then I can find the assets that I have over here. So over here, this is the asset that already been provided by the Autodesk. So let's say if I would like to add machining equipment, so I can just put over here, can just drag, and I can just click. And let's say if I would like to rotate around, so I can also use this axis over here. Maybe I'm going to rotate from this axis. And once I'm done, I can just right click and I can select done. And my asset has now been added over here. So this is the asset that the Autodesk already provided. So if I click at the asset, there are a few things I can also make, right? So I can also do a little bit customization for the assets. So I can click at the factory properties here. So over here, we have the height. So for example, if I change the value to 3, so you can see that the height is now being reduced. So that is a bit things that you can custom with this. Now, let's say if I put it the conveyor, for example, let's say if I have the straight back over here, another things that you can actually do with the assets over here. So let me just click done. Is that you can also snap it to connect between one and another. So I'm gonna go ahead and done. Maybe I have different assets. I can just click and it will snap together. Maybe I need to have a different one. Let me just click this one. Right, I can also click over here. So I can put it up here like a Lego. So that is the asset that Autodesk provide. Let's say if you have our particular own equipment that we would like to put it inside of the asset browser over here. Right, so from here, we actually has the ability to create an asset. Right, so for my case here, I already have an asset. So I don't have to create an asset from here. Let's say if I have this equipment here. So what I can do is that I can go to the factory and I can select asset builder. So if you don't have an equipment yet, and then you want to start from the beginning, you can click over here and then start as part or assembly, and you can just create from the beginning from here. But for this case, already have. But my asset or my model is a bit complicated, and I would like to simplify first. So what you can do, so unassemble over here, you can simplify your model first, make it slightly smaller size, and removing some of the smaller parts that might be too complicated for this. So from the simplify here, so there are a few things that we can do. So we can replace all of the structure with the envelopes, maybe just straight box over here. But if I don't want, I still want to retain the shape, so I can just leave it to none for the envelope. But what I can do here is that I can exclude any component that I don't require. So I can also exclude parts based on size. So I can put, let's say, around 20 inch. Any parts which is below 20 inch will be removed. So if I still would like to remove other equipment that beyond than 20, so I can also select manually and it will be removed. So that is the excluding the components. We can also removing a features. For example, let's say we have a hole, or maybe a chamfer. So for this case, we have a hole. So I can also remove it, the features for the hole here. So again, I also have a range. So any hole with the diameter below than 10 inch will be removed. I can adjust the value, or I can just select all. So it will be removing all of the features from here. So that is for the hole. We can also do it for the fillets, chamfer, and so on. Lastly, from here down here, we have the outputs. So what type of output that we want? So for this case, we can select the templates. By default should be the Inventor part files. And let's say if I would like to combine everything into one solid body, so this is the star that I can select from. For now, I'm just going to as default, and I can just click OK. And what it does, it will simplify all of these parts over here, and it will make a very simple equipment that I can use on other projects, such as for the factory design, so that I can put it very quickly. Bear in mind, for the simplify, it does take a bit sometimes, depend on your computer graphics, but once it's done, you should be able to use it. So my equipment is now has been done. So I have less features over here. So meaning this equipment will become quite fast if I would like to use on different projects. Right now, let me just save first. And then to convert this into factory design asset. So again, I can go to the factory over here. And this is where I can build an asset from here. So I can select asset build, asset builder. And there are a few things that I can select from here. I can select the landing surface, the connector, and so on. But for this case, we're just going to make it as simple before we proceed with a little bit more features later on. For this case, my landing surface is based on this flat plane over here. So the location is not what we want. We would like to have the flat face is down here. So for this case, to change the flat surface, I can click at the landing surface. I can select at the down here. And then I can right click and click OK. So the new landing face will be applied. So to create an asset from here, I can just go ahead and publish the asset. I need to save first. And once done, it will pop out the asset settings. And this will be the location that where I would like to save. So for this case, the name of this asset, I will just name it as a separator vessel. So I can go to the folder location. So I'm just going to leave it at the user asset here. So I have a few options as well. Let's say if I would like to use it inside of the AutoCAD, so automatically it will publish the 2D view from here. So if I click 2D representations, basically if I use this asset inside of the CAD, this is what I would be able to see. So it's going to take some time to generate. Once it's done, you should be able to see the preview of the asset. So basically, this is what we're able to see inside of the AutoCAD. So right now, I'm just going to leave it as a default here, and then I'm just going to click OK. And currently is publishing the assets. And once the asset has been done publishing, so I can just go to the factory layout, and then I can add this equipment inside of my assembly line. Right. So while waiting, I think okay. While waiting, I believe we can also create custom assets from the AutoCAD as well. So if you like to do it inside AutoCAD, you can go to the factory here, and then we have the asset builder from here as well. But I recommend for you to use the Inventor assets, so it will become much more rich of the information here. All right, so I believe my equipment here has failed, probably because I still have too many features from there. But for now, we're just going to proceed with the existing one, or maybe we would like to create right from the beginning as well. Now, let's say if I would like to do it right from the AutoCAD, so I can use the asset builder from here. So at first, I need to have a block first. So I'm just going to, let's say I create a block first. circles. Say circle as well. Same, just make some rectangle from here. Say this will be my equipment. So to generate an asset, so I can go to the asset builder from here, and then it will ask me to double click the block. So I haven't convert this into block yet. So let me just click block. And I'm just going to name this one as a, let's say tank. Tank 001. This will be the center. This will be the object. And I can click. And now I should be able to select my tank over here. Double click, and it will open up the asset builder. So right here, I can just simply publish an asset. So if you would like to have a 3D representation, you can also select over here. But for now, I'm just going to leave it as a default. I believe the 3D representation, you can specify how height that you want. Right? But for this case, I just leave it. And I can go ahead and publish this asset. Same again, I'm going to select the user asset from here. Right, so once the asset has been done, so it should be able to appear on the user asset from here. And there will be a link between the 2D and 3D as well. So anything that you create on the 2D will be appear on the 3D as well. So for now, let's say if I create a new factories. Right, so once it's downloading, I should be able to see this equipment right here. Now, if I would like to use it inside of AutoCAD, also can. So I have a few user asset that I create before. So I can just double click, and then you should be able to see it's automatically convert that 3D into 2D. So if I would like to add this one as well, then I can just click. And this one is the user asset. Maybe I would like to add the asset that has been created by Autodesk as well. So I can also just add it from here. For now, at the Inventor, so if I go to user asset, then you should be able to see I also have access from here. So currently is generating a 3D, but it's going to click and create a box if I want to see the actual shape. So I can also change based on the view. Let me just change into wireframe. I think this one should be right. So this will be the 2D one from the AutoCAD. So let's say if I would like to create right from the beginning, and I would like to have a bit of the customizations like I have from here. So for example, if I put over here, I want to be able to snap it. And I would also like to have an ability to check on the properties, and I would like to change the width, for example, and it will automatically update the size. So to do that, I'm going to go ahead and create. So let me just create an asset from here. I'm going to start from the model, and then I'm going to create a sketch. So to start first, I might want to list down all the parameters that I would like to bring. So I'm going to create a parameter first. So on the user parameter, so I would like to have an ability to change the, let's say the height, ability to change the width, the length, and I will also like to have a turn shape. And this will be my the equivalent from here. So for now, let's say unit, I would like to have it on millimeter, so I can just change the unit from here. And the turn one, I would like this to be angular, and I can put the value from here. So this one, let's say I would like to have it 180 degree. The height, let's say around 500 that I will be using later on. The width will be 1,000. The length should also be 1,000. And done. Right, so to make it simple, so I'm just going to make a simple shape from here so I don't have to consume much time. So right now this will be my equipment here. Let's say I'm going to create a conveyor. So I'm going to give it the length and also the width. So I can go on the dimension over here and then I can select list of parameter that I have before. So that will be length. This one will be, okay, actually I would like this to be width. Let me just width. This one also will be a width. So currently my unit is shown on inch. So let me just change a bit on the unit itself. Oops. Right, so once I'm done, I can click finish. And then I'm going to extrude this. Let's say this will be the height. And then I have this type of equipment. So this will be my conveyor, for example. Let me just make it slightly more detailed. So that we can able to see a bit more customization where we can change the angle for the other equipment. Right, so let's say this is my first conveyor table. Then I have the other one. So I'm going to create a new sketch right over here as well. And this will be a new conveyor table. Let me just use this one instead. And I would like to apply this as a length. So this one can change slightly longer. So this will be the length. This one should still be a width. So for this case, it will still follow the width. So I don't have to apply it. So right now, again, I'm going to extrude this one. Right down here, but I'm going to extrude this one as a new solid, applying that this is a different table. Again, let me just make it slightly more detailed from here. Okay, this one actually I would like to join together with the first one. Just join here. So I have this one. Right, so let's see what are the customization that we can do. So if I go to the parameter again, and then I can change the value from here. I can change the height. So I would like to make it slightly shorter, 400. So you can see it becomes shorter. Maybe I would like to change the width, maybe 800. I would like to change the length of this, make it, let's say, 2,000, for example. And currently we don't have the turn yet. So let me just change back to 1,000. So what I would like to do for the turn one is that I would like to make an extra conveyor belt. So for this case, I can use the, okay, I believe I have a ribbon missing from here. Let me just use a pattern, right? So for the pattern here, I would like to pattern a solid, which is this one. And for this case, I need a rotational axis. So let me just create an axis first. And then I should be able to rotate it. So currently the placement is 6. So I would like to have only 2. So the value will be 360 or 180 also can. But I don't want to use this. I would like to use the value that I have on the parameter will be the turn angle here. So the turn angle will be 180. So if I were to change this into 90 degrees, so it will become something like this. So this is the turn that I want. But another thing that I would like to have is the ability to select the value of degree here. So for this case, I can right click and I can select, make multiple value, and then I can add more value from here. Let's say 0, I would like to have 180. And then let's say I would like to have the other side of 90 degrees. I can also put negative 90. And then I can proceed to add from here. So I can just rearrange back. And I have something like this. So I can drop down and I can select based on the parameter that I have from here. So now that I have done, so to convert it into parametrics again, so I need to save first. So I'm just going to name this one as a, let's say, custom conveyor. And I'm going to hit save. And from here, I can go back to create an asset and I can select asset builder from here. So again, so my landing surface is not correct. So you need to have an z-axis directions pointing down, pointing upwards. So for here, so I need to select a new landing face and I can select down here. So this will be the correct landing faces. I'm going to accept it, right click and click OK. So the next thing that I would like to do from here, so let me just change back to 0. Oops, so let me just change back to 180. So the next thing that I would like to do is that I would like to have a connections like I have from here, right? So for example, if I go and add from the system asset conveyor, so I would like to have an ability to snap. So I can click a different one and I can go ahead and snap. So I would like to have this function. So for that case, you can use the define connector. And then when I click define connector, I can select the area for the connections. In this case, I'm going to click at this point over here. And then you need to make sure that the output position will be the Z directions. So the Z direction will be the blue color. So I'm going to click at the blue color from here. Then I need to specify the upward position. So let me just select. Okay, for some reason, let me just select from here. My connector. Okay, I believe the issue that I have probably because the original landing surface that I have is not correct. So let me just try again. So my Z direction should be okay already, but for some reason it does not allow me to select that. So for that case, what I can do is that I can go back and then I can reposition my the first sketch that I made. I'm going to make it on the XY. So let me just right click at the sketch that I have. And then I can select redefine. So let me just select XY. So I believe this should follow the Z direction correctly. So I go ahead and the asset builder. So the landing surface is still correct. And now I'm going to define a connector. Okay, for some reason it still does not allow this. Let me just check back at my render surface from here. Let me just see. Okay, never mind. For some reason, it does not allow me. But for this case, I'm just going to proceed with this. So to add a connector, so the correct one should have the Z direction upwards. Okay, so once you click, you need to select the Z, and then you need to specify the upward position for this case. For my case, since it does not able to allow me, so I'm just going to proceed from here. So to accept this, right click and click OK. And then click the other one, right click and click OK. You should have the two connector from here. Now to have that ability to change the parameter, so you can go back to the key parameter from here, and then you can select the area that you would like to bring. So let's say this 4 over here. And then you can select to proceed with the creating the asset. So I can just publish the assets. So let me just save first. And then I'm going to save it on the user assets. I'm going to leave it the name as a custom conveyor. Click OK. And then when I go back to my assembly from here, I should be able to see my asset browser from here. So let me just go back at my custom equipment, user assets. I should have now my custom conveyor from here. So I can click, right click and done. And then I can click and I should be able to snap. So for this case, I have a problem because the direction is not correct previously. Right, but if you have the direction correct, you should be able to connect properly. Another things that I can do from here, so I can go back to the factory properties, and then I can select the turn. Let's say make it 0 degree, or maybe 90 degree. So when I press enter, then you should be able to see it has the customization that we added previously. Maybe make it 90 degree, or maybe make it 0 degree will be no. Or maybe I would like to have the straight line again. So I can add the 180. Okay, so I can change the height, maybe make it 500. Can change the width and so on and so forth. So you should be able to allow you to create. So another things that we can do from here is that we can also add a variation. So for example, let's say if I click over here, I would like to have this able to select the corner turns, which is I need to change this, let's say 90 degree. So if I add a new one, so it will add the default one. So instead of need to change one by one, what we can do is that we can add a variation. So one variation that we have, for example, over here is the part 4.1 over here. So if I right click, I can select a different variation from here. So if you like to add a different variation, so you can just go back over here. Let me just go back over here. And then we can add an asset variations. Then from here, I can select the height, the width, the length, and so on. So the variation that I would like to have is the turn. So I can add on the column over here, and I want to add the 4, let's say 3 variations. So one is the straight. The other one is to turn left and to turn right. Then I can specify the correct one. So the straight one should be 180. To turn left, maybe 90 degree. To turn right, maybe negative 90 degree. And I can click OK. And I can publish the asset. So for this case, let's say if I try to edit back the previous one, let me just can still edit the features. Maybe make it this one on different directions. So let me just try again, just to see if this would fix the connection system. So let me just save. And again, I can just go over here, maybe want to make it this one as a version 2. I should have a 3 variation of the same object. So if I go back to the assembly and go ahead and click at the asset browser, then you should be able to see now we have 3 variations. So I can just double click, put over here. I want to have a different variations. I can just right click and I would like to select left. Yeah, I think the connection is not correct previously. Yeah, I might not have saved it. Let me just search back my variations. Should have, if you select this one correctly, you should be able to select the version correctly. But for this case, let me just delete one of the connector. Then I can select and publish new. So if you like to override, then you can just simply select the existing one. Then you can click OK, and then you should be able to override. But for this case, I already used this asset, so it will not allow me to override. So I need to delete this asset first. So that is basically how you create your custom asset builder for the factory design utilities. Right, so that is all from me. So thank you everyone for joining this free online lessons. So I hope I can see you guys again on our next free online lessons. So that is all from me. So thank you everyone and have a nice day. Bye-bye.